In this video, you will learn to divide with 4-digit dividends and also how to divide with money. So let's jump right into our first example. So here we have 4,576 divided by 4. And this here is a 4-digit dividend. So that's what we mean when we say that we're dividing with a 4-digit dividend, is the first number is a number with 4 digits. All right, so what we do is basically the same exact thing as we do with 2- and 3-digit dividends. We just have to do the entire process one more time. So what does that look like? Well, here we set up like this. So we have the half rectangle right here. 4 goes on the outside, and then 4,576 goes on the inside. So we just jump right in where we will see what is 4 divided by 4, and that would be 1. So we put a 1 up here. And then step 2 is we multiply the 1 times 4. That gives you 4. We then subtract, and that gives you 0. Step 4 is you bring down the 5, and then repeat the process. So now we do 5 divided by 4, and that would give you 1 with the remainder. So 1 goes up here. We multiply 1 times 4 to get 4, so that was step 2. And then we subtract for step 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. And then step 4 is we bring down the next number, which is the 7. So now we have 17. We do 17 divided by 4, which would be 4. So we put a 4 up here. And we do 4 times 4 to get 16 for step 2. And then we subtract to get 1. So that is what we learned to do with a 3-digit dividend. And with a 4-digit dividend, we're doing the same thing, just we're doing the entire process one more time. So we bring down the 6 and then repeat the cycle. So now we have 16 divided by 4, and that would give you 4. So you put a 4 up here on the top, and then step 2 is multiply. So you do 4 times 4 to get 16, and then subtract to get 0. So here there's no remainder, which means your solution is going to be 1,144. And by the way, if we had more digits in the dividend, so maybe we had another number like a 3, or even a couple extra numbers, could have 1, 7, whatever, all we do is we just keep repeating the process over and over again until we reach the last digit. So if you can do a 2-digit number or 3-digit number dividend, then you can divide with 4, 5, 6, 7, or any number of digits in the dividend. You just keep going through the same cycle over and over again. Now, the second half of the lesson was working with division with money. So instead of 4,576 divided by 6, what if we were dividing $45.76 by 4? Well, it's really all the same steps. So we divide like we would normally. The only thing to account for is the decimal point. So we just need to figure out where the decimal point is going to go. So here we go through the same process. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Then you multiply 1 times 4 to get 4. Then you subtract to get 0. And you can bring down the 5 and repeat the cycle. So we've done this over here with this other problem, but we'll keep going until we get to the decimal point part. So now we do 5 divided by 4. That gives you 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, that gives you 1. All right, so now here we bring down the 7. So the 7 comes down, and then repeat the process again. Now before you do that, notice that we use the 5 to get the 1 here. Right, you brought down the 5, and then that 5 divided by 4, that's how you got the 1, right? Well, so your answer is going to have a decimal point right after that 1, because after the 5 was a decimal point, so after the number you got from the 5, you put the decimal point. So it goes right there. And then you go through the rest of the steps, and you would find that we would get 11.44 as the solution. All right, so the only thing different here is the decimal point. And you could do a mental check as well, because if you do 45 divided by 4, you know it's going to be 11 something, right? It's between 11 and 12. So you can do a mental check at the end to see if your answer makes sense with the decimal point positioning. Right? If you put it after the first one, your answer wouldn't make sense. If you had 1.144, you know, $45 divided by 6 is not going to be $1, right? That doesn't make sense. If you put it after the 4, if you had 114.4, that also would not make sense, because if you started with $45 and you divide it by 6, you're not going to get a bigger number back out. So the only thing new with dividing by money is making sure the decimal point is in the correct location. Let's try another example. So here we have 8.26, so $8.26 divided by 7. All right, so here we have 8.26, and we have divide by 7. And again, we go through the same normal division process. You do 8 divided by 7, that gives you 1 with the remainder. So put 1 up here. 1 times 7 is 7. We subtract, and that gives you 1. All right, so the 8, after the 8 comes a decimal point, and the number that came from 8 was the number 1. So the decimal point must come after the 1 for that reason. All right, and if you keep the numbers lined up, by the way, your decimal point should be aligned with the numbers on the top and the bottom. All right, so the decimal point was here. You just go straight above. That's where a point is going to go in your answer. So then we keep the process going, bring down the 2. Now we do 12 divided by 7. That gives you 1 with the remainder. So put a 1 up here, and then multiply 1 times 7 to get 7. And then we subtract 12 minus 7 to get 5. Bring down the 6 and repeat. Now we have 56 divided by 7. That gives you 8. So 8 goes up here. Then multiply 8 times 7 to get 56. Subtract, and that gives you 0. So your final answer is $1.18. And that makes sense, right? Because if you have 8 divided by 7, you know it's going to be 1 with the remainder. Right? If you had 11.8, for example, that doesn't make sense because you start with $8 and you divide by 7, you're not going to get a bigger number. And if you had like 0.118, that'd be the same thing as like 11.8 cents. Right, that's like 11 cents. And so if you had $8 divided by 7, 11 cents doesn't make sense as well. All right, so you can do a quick mental check at the end to make sure that your decimal point is in the correct location. Let's try one more example. Here we have $0.84 divided by 7. Or in other words, we just have 84 cents divided by 7. This one you could probably do in your head actually, but we'll go through the process here. All right, so here we have 0.84 divided by 7. 7 does not go into 0, but it does go into 8, right? So 7 goes into 8 one time with the remainder. So put the 1 right above the 8. 1 times 7 is 7. Subtract, that gives you 1. Our decimal point needs to go right here to keep everything aligned. All right, so it's going to go right here because the number that we got from the 8 was the 1. We put that right above the 8. All right, then from here, we bring down the 4 and repeat. 14 divided by 7 is 2, so the 2 would go right here. Then you multiply 2 times 7 to get 14. Subtract, that gives you 0. So your answer is going to be 0.12, which is the same thing as $0.12. And you could just write it as 12 cents like this. That is the same thing. So that would be your final answer. Which makes sense, right? If you had 84 cents divided by 7, 84 divided by 7 is 12. So 84 cents divided by 7 should give you 12 cents. And that is your solution. It's going to be 12 cents. And that concludes our lesson for today. We will see you next time.